Yes, we're running.
Okay,
No, I'm
welcome
standing
guys to
still.
another episode of the Meat of the. You okay?
We can cut the whole.
Okay.
We can cut
Welcome guys
anything
to
out,
another
so that's
episode
fine.
of the.
Sorry,
Are we
Mark.
all set to go now?
I just made a bad joke.
Yeah. No, no worries, no worries. Okay, guys, welcome to another episode of the Meat of the Matter podcast. Today, I'll be stepping in. Myself and Peter will be stepping in today because Tony's a little bit busy. He'll be back next week. Today, we have a special guest. Today's guest is going to be Jonathan. Jonathan is a fellow carnivore. He's been doing carnivore for just over a year now, and he's going to tell us our story today. So, Jonathan, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me here, Mark. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and tell my story to you guys.
Amazing. So we want to hear about it. So we'll talk about carnivore shortly, but I've spoken to you a few times on other podcasts, but I want you to tell the audience, let's go back, say 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. What was life like for Jonathan, like say 10, 15 years ago?
Okay, so it's been rough, a rough journey, pretty much as long as I can remember. I was struggling with my gut and my mental health. I like had IBS, I had anxiety and severe depression. In school, right, as a kid, I was always the shy kid in class. I didn't have any confidence. I didn't believe in myself, right? I didn't know how to really talk to people. I mostly kept to myself. I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I just felt kind of out of place, kind of different. Uh, and as I got older, I also started gaining a lot of weight, becoming the fat kid in class in addition to that. And of course, that doesn't help, right? That just makes everything go even more south. And yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse, really never got much better, just kept developing into something very, very bad and dark. And especially towards the year 2023, I wanted to start losing some weight because I thought to myself, like I've heard you talk about, Mark, if you get that, those abs, right? You're finally gonna be happy and everything's gonna be fixed. So I fell into this whole thing. A lot of young people fall into the whole calorie counting world of stuff. And I started eating a lot of like low fat stuff like Greek yogurt, a lot of vegetables, fruit, chicken, right? And I was actually staying away from ultra processed stuff. I was already aware of the seed oil stuff through my brother. And I started losing some weight. I started actually feeling better, a little bit more confident, and I got fit. I liked what I saw in the mirror. Uh, but the problem is, right, I was pretty much at this point, I was eating this balanced diet, right? The plant-based standard stuff. We have all the same guidelines pretty much here in Norway as the US and everything. It's not really different. Uh, and the calorie counting stuff, of course, that fit perfectly with the balanced plant-based diet. Uh, but yeah, it did work in the short term. I started feeling quite a bit better actually and started becoming more confident and everything. Uh, but that didn't last too long, right? There's no nutrition really in that. There's not enough fat for my brain and everything. So actually, at some point, it ended up turning worse in a way that was way worse than I'd ever experienced before. It turned like to pretty much the worst point in my entire life. I was starting to isolate myself, just staying in my room all day long, right? I was also the kind of kid that played a lot of video games, right? I didn't really have much else to do, so I just did that. Definitely probably wasn't good for me either. So yeah, I just stayed in my room, felt awful, felt lost, out of control, like had no direction in life. I just, yeah, completely gone. At some point, I was so mentally ill with all my depression and stuff that I sort of started creating a fantasy world inside of my own head. I don't know what to call it. Maybe it has some sort of clinical name. Uh, but yeah, and started creating the world that I wanted around me, right? And started creating, of course, a very confident character for myself. uh, and the people around me and everything. But yeah, and at this point, uh, really every day, I went to sleep every night, and I just hoped I wouldn't wake up. I was like thinking of ways to just end it all, right?
Oh my God. Sorry to hear about that, Jonathan. I've heard your story a few times, and it still gets me really, really emotional. What's fascinating about your story is you're only a young man. You're only like I think you said you're only 23.
Yeah.
That's what's fascinating about this, because you don't get many 23-year-olds that are talking about carnivore. So like your story is amazing because what you've actually went through, you were one of those kids that you didn't like what you didn't like, you didn't feel like what's the word I'm looking for, you um what's the word I'm looking for, like I get it, you didn't feel part of the crowd really. You were a lonely person. There's a lot of kids out there that are actually going through the same thing. And it's amazing that you're actually coming on social media and explaining your story. So honestly, fair play. It's inspirational. It's amazing. And yeah, if you're okay, we just want to hear more of it.
Yeah, there's nothing off limits for me. Whatever I can do to just get this out, right? At this point, I don't want to hide anymore, and I know that my story can help someone out there if it reaches them, and yeah, that's just
And
what I hope. And
where did
So
it go downwards, you think? Because you started exercising and starting eating a sort of healthy, balanced diet, let's say, but with a lack of nutrients. But how did this go? What happened? What were the things that you noticed first? Because you were getting in shape, but at some point it all went in the other direction.
yeah, I would say I almost didn't think about it at the time. I don't
Mm.
know, my mental state was so like destroyed, and I like the calorie counting thing, like tracking everything and constantly obsessing about the numbers and stuff. It almost became an addiction in itself, kind of like how food can become addictive. I think at some point, I just kept going and kept, you start thinking to yourself, oh, but I can look even better. It can get even better and better. And yeah, so the vegetables, of course, came more and more up. And it was like a lot of lean protein and stuff. So I was just trying to fill up my stomach, right? My idea of feeling full was my stomach being bloated and feeling awful, like pain in my gut. That was my entire idea of feeling full. And I have had ideas previously to carnivore with my gut, like my entire life, right? It's always been a joke in my family, uh, that, oh, we can't make spontaneous plans because we're gonna have to wait for Jonathan for like 3 hours to get done on the toilet. I was so constipated and stuff and had to constantly run to pee, like the short bursts sort of thing. So yeah, I don't know I don't know how to explain like exactly where it went wrong, but I was pretty much eating this thing that people are calling healthy, staying away from junk food, and you'd think that would make
And
everything good.
can I just ask, Jonathan, was this all on your own merit, or were you been told to do this? Like, were you speaking to anybody, or were you just following diets, or were you listening to other people's diets? Like, how did you actually fall into this this diet culture that you fell into?
Okay, I would say, thinking back, that it was my brother who started like getting a little bit more health conscious and started to train and think more about nutrition, and he pointed me like in a direction of some people on YouTube, like people like Will Tennyson, Greg Doucette, that crowd, right? The people who think about volume eating instead of nutrition. Yeah, that's what. Does that answer your question? Oh, did we lose Mark?
He's not hearing us, but
Uh,
I was thinking also that that's like a toxic combination, right? You're still young and you're following this low nutrition diet, and you're training a lot. And I remember from when I played video games, that would typically mean that I stayed up very long at night, and you have the energy of being a young guy. You can stay up as long as you want and sleep for 5 or 6 hours. And at some point, it will backfire.
yeah, definitely. I did stay up like very, very late at night, sometimes just skip the night of sleep because of that gaming stuff. And yeah, with the calorie counting stuff and starting to listen to those people, I also did start training a lot, like overtraining, to the point where, yeah, it's just I was exhausted. And towards like the end of my period of doing all this stuff before I got to carnivore, which I'm sure we'll get to that story. It's an interesting one. Yes, I didn't have any energy left, right? I stopped training because I actually just couldn't. Even the times where I went to do it, I just didn't have it in me. I started losing a lot of muscle actually and looking very frail, like and pale. I looked sick, and people around me were telling me this, and I just thought, oh, they're envious of my health transformation or something like that. And I thought, oh, I'm doing so well, looking so great. And for some reason, I didn't see this stuff myself, that I was so mentally broken and or felt broken, and my gut was constantly just, yeah, destroying me every day. But yeah.
No,
Set the phrase
now
a little
we
bit, did he? Now it's his internet. It's usually mine.
yeah.
Oh, hopefully he comes back now shortly.
Luckily, it's a recording, so.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I can I can ditch this fly, because there's this fly going through the through the
Hopefully
screen.
he'll come. He looks well and he's frozen.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's usually my internet. Now it's his.
yeah,
Hopefully he'll be back in a couple of minutes. We can always just get rid of these little
yeah. Oh, no
hiccups.
problem. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just send him a message, tell him that it's at the freezing a little bit. Okay.
Oh, I think he is trying something now.
Yeah, he's just coming back into it now in a minute. The internet, huh? Fucking, it really annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy stuff to edit it. So
I'm actually going to get a new network because the one that I have is absolutely rubbish. Here he is
Oh,
now.
Yeah, we have really bad weather here, and it actually knocked out my connection yesterday. So
No problem at all.
hopefully
So,
it stays.
so Jonathan, just going back on your IBS, we know that when people are suffering with IBS, the diagnosis is that you need to eat more fiber. That's usually what the recommendations are. Dietitians, nutritionists, doctors will recommend you're just not eating enough fiber. What's your opinion on this?
Crap. It's a load of crap. Yeah, I definitely heard this entire thing throughout my journey too, right? And especially when I was doing the calorie counting and trying to get fit and healthy, that's one way to fill up the calories and get a lot of volume. And also, I heard this entire story of, oh, that will help your gut and let you go to the toilet. But for me, I actually just got worse and worse and worse, more bloated, more constipated. I also suffered with hemorrhoids as a 21-year-old. That's something you only really hear from old people, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
and yeah, you don't need it. Now, when I'm carnivore, I have perfect bowel motions and everything. There's no issue. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to sit and bond with the toilet for 5 hours every day, right?
Yeah.
That was
And
basically the balanced diet approach for me. Ended up being me balancing my time between the fridge and the toilet. That's how it was.
so I'm hoping I'm actually hoping people actually hear this story. So because here's a guy that suffered with depression, anxiety all his life, mental health issues. He had gut issues all his life, and he's going to tell us about his carnivore story very, very shortly. But a lot of people on social media are telling us, like, listen, we're not eating enough fiber. We need to limit our protein, and they're pushing us towards fiber. And here's a guy in front of us that's clearly stating that he's done this. It never worked. He actually suffered a long, long time for it. So let's move into carnivore. Did you go straight into it, or did you go down the keto approach?
Okay, so now we're getting into the crazy stuff. So yeah, towards the end of the summer that year, 2023, when I started getting fit and stuff, yeah, at that point, right, I was feeling so lost, just wandering around aimlessly every day and just feeling like there was nothing I could do. This was just my destiny. I was born this way. I can't do anything about it. I'm unlucky. But what happened, the turning point for me was, as with many people, I hit my rock bottom moment, like my moment of desperation, which was I had the absolute worst IBS attack that I'd ever had in my entire life. I was so bloated, like, oh, I looked like a pregnant woman, right? If you can imagine, I don't know, a Wolverine running around inside you, just scratching you up from the inside. And uh, I was just being blown up like a balloon, feeling I was so inflamed and felt so awful. I didn't even sleep for like 2, 3 days. And that's the moment where I just realized to myself that, you know what? I can't keep living this way. And I have to make drastic changes to what I'm doing. And of course, since it was my gut I was focused on because of that flare up, I just thought to myself, I mean, logically, what else could cause that than something in my diet? That makes sense. It's as if like these primal instincts just switched on inside of me and I was just super focused. I was trying to just survive, like get some relief. So yeah, I started thinking to myself and realized that there was something I had had that day with that big flare up that I hadn't had in a while, and that was an apple. So what I did was, a couple of days later, I tried having a piece of apple again to try. I wanted to see and connect with these things, just feel it for myself and connect the dots between what I'm putting into my mouth and what's happening. And yes, it came back when I had that piece of apple. So right at this point, I just started really, really paying attention to my body, the signals I'm getting when I'm eating stuff, and I'm starting to just, on my own at this point, eliminating foods, trying a little bit again to see how I react, to like find out whether or not it is actually that thing disturbing my gut. And the strange thing throughout this entire, or crazy thing throughout this entire period, is I wasn't even aware of carnivore existing. I had never heard of keto. I had never heard of low carb or carnivore or anything. But it seemed like every time I cut out a piece of plant from my diet, I started feeling better.
Wow.
That's what I started noticing. So every piece of broccoli or whatever that I stopped having, my gut started feeling more at rest. And my mind actually started coming after that as well, feeling better. And yeah, this process went on and on, I think for maybe 2 months or something. It went pretty quickly. I already didn't have that much variety really in my diet. So there wasn't that much to try and fail, because I was always the kind of person who just ate whatever I want, or like the same things over and over. Didn't really need that variety, at least not in this period of my life. And yeah, towards the end of that period, I had one last plant food, if you want to call it that, left, and that was an avocado. So that day, when I sat down with my meal, I had some ground beef and eggs and avocado with it. And when I sat down to have taste a little bit, a bite of that avocado, I just had this visceral reaction inside of me, and when it tasted completely awful to me, as if my body was telling me this is poisonous, right? That you should not be eating this thing. And at this point, I had already decided for myself that whatever my body is telling me, all the signals, I just have to listen to them, because there's a reason why it's happening. I'm leaving this up to my mind, not like my instincts, my gut feeling. I mean, that's a fitting way
Wow,
to
and
put it.
there
My
was no
gut
voice
feeling.
anymore. There was no voice in the back of your head saying that you have to eat some vegetables or fruits for the vitamins and those things. How
I
did that
think
go?
at this point, I was just so laser focused on getting some relief that I didn't actually think about it. And my mental state, right? I wasn't capable of thinking of too many things at the same time. During this whole process, I was still pretty much stuck in my room. All that went on throughout my days was thinking about diet and like, what am I gonna have next, and will it hurt me or will it actually do me good? So no, I think I was just so focused on, I want to just feel better and get rid of this stuff, and I'm starting to feel better, so there's something to what I'm doing. uh
Mm.
and yeah, from that day on, when I cut out that last avocado, I just chuck it in the bin, right? I'm not having that stuff. uh, yeah, I've pretty much been fully carnivore. And I can tell you the story of how I found out about like the existence of all this stuff on the internet too. It's a pretty funny story, or very unexpected for me too. So at this point, when I'm carnivore, pretty much I think 3 days in or something. That's what I seem to remember when I'm trying to think back at it. 3 days in, I just suddenly woke up from a great night of sleep that I hadn't like experienced in years, and just unlimited energy felt so amazing. All this like my brain fog and my depression, every bad feeling I'd ever felt, it seemed like it just ran off, right? It was just gone out of nowhere seemingly. And I just had to get right up from my bed and just went out the door. I had to do something. I just, yeah, I didn't want to sit and be sad and depressed anymore. I just wanted to live my life. So what I did that day, after being isolated for so long, I actually hadn't really spoken much to my family either. I was living in the UK at the time, and I'm back in Norway now. But yeah, so I called my parents. Uh, I For some reason I just felt like I had to talk to them. And when I called my mom, I started telling her, right, I've been experimenting with my diet, right, and I really don't understand what's happening with me, but this is what I'm doing right now, and like I'm feeling so good. What is this even real? Right? And she started telling me about people, because she goes to Pilates, and she started telling me that a lot of people in the local group of Pilates people, they actually do this sort of diet. She already knew about people doing carnivore in my hometown where we live, and she also had heard of a lot of people on the internet doing it. So that's the point where I started looking into it myself, and of course it helped a lot having not feeling so alone in this, and having other people. I mean, even though it's just videos, just seeing other people doing this and thriving and all the amazing things it's actually reversed for people, and learning more about why it works and everything. I had the same questions as everyone at this point. I didn't think you could just live off meat, and I thought the vegetables and the greens and the whole grains, that's the healthy stuff, and I can't just live off of meat. I'm gonna get scurvy, right? So yeah, that it really helped to, and I want to know. I've always been the kind of person who wants to know why something works, not just, oh, this is just do it because the theory says so. You need to know practically, what does this mean for me. uh yeah, and from there on, now I've been doing it for
It's
about 20 months.
Wow.
amazing. So nearly 2 years now. 2 years.
Getting there, yeah.
And are things still changing? Like the
ama-
first months you felt your mind cleared up, I understand, and you got energy. And let's say after half a year or 1 year later, did you notice any other changes?
I mean, there are so many. The list
Yeah.
is just endless. It's hard to even start remembering them, and I don't really think about them anymore, right? Because I'm just moving on. But I definitely do notice, and when I see other people talking about, oh, I used to have this thing, and suddenly I realize one day, 1 year into carnivore, oh, I don't have it anymore, and I realize, oh, I used to have that too. But I'll try to think. Yeah, so seasonal allergies, no issues. Everyone in my family struggles with it. always had huge flare-ups. It's just gone. And what's it called? Raynaud's, like the white finger stuff. I think some people call it corpse fingers. It's like a circulation issue to your fingers. They go all white and they're stiff and stuff. Yeah, seems to just be gone. What else? Of course, my skin. I used to have a lot of skin issues. Not anymore. Yeah, it's there's so many things. I almost forget.
And what do people tell you now, Jonathan? Do people tell you like, listen, you're crazy, this is just a miracle? Like what's the feedback you've been getting off people?
So in my like personal life, pretty much everyone saw the huge difference in me. So they had no other choice almost but to accept that there's something to what I'm doing. So they're supportive of it, of course, but they had the questions and everything. Like scurvy was the big one. My grandpa still believes I'm still gonna get scurvy, even though I'm 20 months into it. He says, "Just wait 1 year. I promise you, it's coming." But mostly they're all supportive, even though they don't understand it and they definitely don't want to do it themselves. Even though I think they'd see great benefit from it. But it's, but that wouldn't work for me.
And what does a day look like eating wise? What are you having? Are you having 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day?
Okay, so I like to do some meal prepping. I usually do it on Sundays, and I get my tofu out. I marinate it in. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I mostly eat 1 meal a day. I just feel great doing it. If I feel hungry more, I'll eat a little extra meal. I eat red meat, eggs, butter, and fish. I really like fish.
Amazing. And you're actually doing quite well at the moment. So let us know what you have planned. Like I know you said you have something coming up in New York. Let us know what it is.
Oh, I don't have the full details on it yet, but I've been invited to come talk at a carnivore event in New York. It's gonna be at the Syracuse Mall, I think it's called, 27th of September. I don't have like a link for tickets or anything yet, but I'll get it soon. So that's gonna be really exciting. Dr. Kilt is gonna be there. Kerry Man from Homestead How, Carnivore Ray is gonna be there, and Keto Pro, he's gonna be there.
Richard Smith, yeah.
Yeah, Richard Smith and Lisa Wiedemann. So there's quite a lineup. So I'll be there on the panel, and yeah, it's just unbelievable to me that I've been welcomed into the community so quickly, and that people want to give me the opportunity and the stage to come tell my story and share my message. It's really, yeah, I can't express it with words how grateful I am to do this.
Yeah,
there are so many young people out there suffering in silence like I was, right? And they don't know that there's a way out of that dark place. They just think I'm lost forever and I'm out of control of this and there's nothing I can do.
And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on, Jonathan, because of that reason. We spoke about this a few days ago. I think it's very, very important that someone like you is speaking on a platform, because there's a lot of people out there that are in the exact same situation as you, and they don't understand why they're feeling suicidal, why they're feeling that their mental health is going to crap. They don't understand why they're getting depressed. And it's very, very sad to see. It's very, very sad to see that we have now kids as young as 16 years of age that are talking about taking their own life. Suicide now is huge in like kids now. It's just crazy. And we only need to look around and see what's going on. Like, it's just crazy. People can go into shops now. They can buy energy drinks. They can buy whatever they want. There's kids walking around. They're vaping at the moment. We're not teaching kids nutrition anymore. Like years ago when I went to college, we would have had home economics. We would have been taught how to cook our food. That's gone. In the last 10 years, I don't see that in schools anymore. I don't see enough sports in schools anymore. No PE. I don't see enough. All I see at the moment is just kids playing video games. The teachers are not doing enough in schools for students. And it's so sad to see. And you can clearly see in the last 10 years, it's getting a lot worse. We have more obese children than ever before. We have more kids that are ADHD. We have more kids that are suffering with depression. We have more kids that are suffering with mental health. We have more kids that have type 2 diabetes. It's just insane. When do we put a stop to it and start looking at what the kids are eating instead of just blaming genetics all the time?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very. Yeah,
No,
that's.
go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that's an interesting point, Mark, because we always talk about carnivore and proper human diet versus the standard diet. But indeed, the last 10, 20 years, it's much more than that. Also, within the concept of a standard diet, at least 30, 40 years ago at school, we got some education and get some idea of what proper nutrition is, even within the parameters of a standard diet. And then we get all these things like nowadays, indeed, with the social media, video games. And I did the same 15 years ago. I was also always video gaming and staying up late. If I would have known things about that draining your body from energy in all those ways, and not just with bad diet, but all those things, that it would at some point end into a thing like this, the rock bottom. Yeah, that's.
Well, I've actually seen this transition because I'm older than you guys. I've seen the transition when I was 18 years of age. It wasn't as bad as what it is right now. Like we were taught about nutrition in schools. We did the home economics. We were learning about proper food probably once or twice a week. We were playing sports every single day. We were outside playing football, playing games. We never stayed indoors ever. Our parents used to always say to us, like, listen, go on out and play. Nowadays, parents are buying these video games for kids. They're actually buying this junk for kids. We're not pushing our kids towards these sports. And when we do push them towards these sports, these kids are too overweight. They can't even do them. And that's how they fall out of love with them, because they've developed those bad habits over the years. So it's like, okay, who's to blame for this? Is it the parents or is it the system? Who do we blame for all this? But at the end of the day, it's getting a lot worse. And we need people like Jonathan, who's only a young man, who's actually figured this out all himself. He wasn't told to do this. He actually figured this out himself. He knew he had a problem. And if he didn't fix it, he's mentioned it before, that he probably wouldn't be here. And that's so sad to hear a young man talking about that. It really is. And as I said, he's not the only one. I know there's thousands and thousands of teenagers out there that are in the same situation, and their voice is not being heard because they're hiding it. That's what they're doing. They're in that room where Jonathan was, where he was lonely. People weren't listening to him, and he felt like he'd be better if he wasn't here. We've all been there. I was there. When I used to be a teenager, I used to have those thoughts coming from my head. And nobody was telling me, okay, it might be down to what you're eating. This is what maybe if you look at your diet and make a few changes, you might actually feel a little bit better. Maybe if you cut out the bad habits and go outside and play more sports and look after yourself a little bit more, you might actually be a little bit better. Nobody told me this. I actually had to figure out all this myself. And it's very, very sad that this is the way it's going. There's not enough help. There's just not enough help in the world at the moment. And that's the reason why the system, in my opinion, is letting people down.
And though I was wondering, Jonathan, so struggling in life with the depression, IBS, how did a typical day look like, and how was that afterwards? Because in the end, even in that situation, you have to find some way to go from day to day. And I don't know if you're studying or you have a job or anything, but yeah, how did you sort of manage to present yourself still to the outside world and get things keep things going?
I mean, yeah, I was going to school throughout the time that I had all these issues, the IBS and the depression and everything. And at some point, I was actually very addicted to alcohol and nicotine and that sort of thing too. And at the worst, I actually couldn't manage to get myself to school without having a drink.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I will, and I just went to school, always sat in the back, and I was my heartbeat racing just at the thought of I have to go to school today. I was sweating like profusely, and smelling awfully as well, which is also gone now. I don't seem to not have any body odor, and of course had like a deodorant in my backpack and went to the toilet and like tried to stitch it up with that, but it just made everything worse. Uh, and yeah, just felt very isolated at school too. And I've always been kind of I've always kind of stood out in my opinions of stuff too. I probably already lean into a direction of the kind of person who would find their way to doing this kind of diet, right? That you're already starting to question things and not just taking your teacher's word for stuff and all that. Uh, so yeah, school was difficult for me, definitely. I did struggle a lot with it, and I actually don't have one friend with me from going to school. 18 years, not one.
That's mad, isn't it? That's crazy. And what are they doing now, Jonathan? What would you think they'd be doing right now in your situation? Do you think they be drinking alcohol? They be still living their party lives, or do you think they're doing what you're doing?
The sad part is what you said is exactly what I see them doing.
Mm,
Uh, they're just wasting their lives away, right? Not going anywhere, heading nowhere, building nothing with their lives, and
mm,
drinking a lot, partying a lot, just being overly obsessed about other people's opinions of them, eating absolute junk, uh, while also wondering why they uh, can't afford doing everything they want as a student.
mm,
Uh,
mm,
and yeah, you can see very easily all of them are deteriorating, like not heading in the right direction, uh, being inflamed, they're metabolically sick. Everyone's starting to uh, get fat and stuff, and they're not even aware of it. They're just, this is just how life is for them. And yeah, it's so sad to see. Like people, even the people who are conscious, they get conned into the sort of thing that I did, whether or not I wasn't having that exactly, but they're drinking the protein shakes and stuff. Protein shakes and stuff. I wasn't doing that, but uh, people do that and think, oh, now I'm gonna get big and have a lot of muscles, and this is so good for me. Not realizing that's also inflaming them and not good for them. Just yeah, people aren't eating real food, and there's
can
definitely
I just ask you a question, Jonathan? If Can I just ask you a question? If someone's listening to this now who's your age, they're sitting in their room, they're lonely, they're depressed, they're angry, they're frustrated, they feel left out. They just feel like, you know what, no matter what they do, that it just never goes right. And these people are looking for help. What advice would you give these people? Where would you advise these people to start?
I would advise them first to just not take anyone's word for anything. Question everything you hear. Don't go around assuming that just because someone tells you something that, oh, this is good for you, this is good for you, this might help. Don't go around assuming that they're doing it for your own good. There's always an agenda behind it. Even if you look at the national guidelines, don't take their word for anything either. So I would start just questioning a few things and just realize that you actually do have a lot more power to take control over your own health than you really think. But there's, at the end of the day, there's no one else who can come and do this for you, right? We can sit here and tell you all these things about a carnivore and why it will help you and, oh, it helped me. But you have to decide for yourself, right, that I want to do this and give it a try, just 30 days maybe, and just know that you can do it. And there's a lot of people ready to support you. You don't have to be alone in it, even though you might feel a little strange in your circle, in your personal life. Just realize that there is actually a way. Just listen to me, right? And all the stories out there. There's so many people healing from incredible things. Schizophrenia, ME, right? It's endless. Yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you this, Jonathan. 2 years on, do you feel like you're at peace now?
Yes, I'm definitely at peace. I feel this just inner calm, this peace inside of me where, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I don't need to like have anything else in my diet. I'm doing fine. I'm eating this way for my health. I don't need to put anything down my throat for entertainment anymore. I'm feeling so good, and why would I ever want to go back to how things used to be? That was just be stupid of me. I'm feeling so good, and finally I can actually, this diet has given me all the energy and just the feeling of, I don't know, being grateful and believing in myself that I actually can achieve everything I want in life. I truly, finally do believe in myself, and now I'm set up to achieve it too if I go in for it. And so yeah, I do feel at rest. But now for me, this is about getting it out to other people, because as we've been talking about, there are so many people out there just suffering in silence like I was. I never talked to anyone in my family. No one around me truly knew how bad I was feeling. They probably noticed, but I never talked to anyone. I never went to the doctor with it or anything. And yeah, for me, it's just I need to, for me, it almost feels like a duty to me, right? And I feel, finally, I feel a sense of purpose in something, in sharing my story and hopefully reaching someone who's suffering out there like I was, and just making them just start to, maybe I can start to plant the seeds of, oh, wait, I don't have to live like this. I can choose right now to change my diet towards eating meat and eggs and butter and stuff. And just logically, right? It worked for Jonathan. It's worked for many other people. Why wouldn't it work for you? You're human
Absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
And I'm
Well,
so
as I
happy for
said-
you that you found
Sorry.
this already at just 20 years old. I mean, a lot of people will find it in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, or even 70s. And yeah, what I always think is that it must be such a shock that you learn something about diet, which is an essential part of our life. If eating food, it's important in life, and you learn that vegetables and fruits are not necessary. And all those years you have been told to do so, and don't you get the feeling like I've been told the wrong rules of the game, and maybe even feel sort of anger, maybe, or frustration that you haven't been told this earlier, and that all of this has to happen before reaching this point and learning about these facts?
Yeah, exactly. Because no one actually has to reach that point of being sick and lost and desperate, right? You don't actually have to hit that rock bottom before you make the change and eat this way. It's just you don't hear it anywhere. It's you're not being told this stuff that you actually don't need fiber. You don't need carbohydrates through your diet. It's not essential for you. And who knows, maybe you'll actually feel a lot better and your health issues could go away. So yeah, definitely that I used to have a lot of anger in me, probably just because I felt misunderstood, and from my anxiety and depression and everything, I used to even feel angry just seeing other people being happy. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of the only anger I have in me right now is all this misinformation we're being told about diet, and I know how hard the fight is going to be for us, right, to fight against this narrative that we've been fed all our lives, and you're hearing through all the media, even through the government and everything. It's a hard fight, but for me now, the difference for me before is knowing how hard this is going to be. That's just making me even more motivated to keep fighting for it. And I'm not gonna stop. I'm here for the ride. But yes, so the short answer is definitely I am. I do feel a little bit of anger, right?
Yeah.
That we're
But
being
still with a
told the
smile on your
opposite.
face, right? That's anger with a smile on your face. That's
Yes,
good.
that's a new one.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and
And
I recognize that feeling that let's say 3-4 years ago, I wasn't able to frequently exercise at a regular pace, and there was always something blocking me from doing that. And you would look out of the window and see the same person jogging on the street every day, and you would feel this, I mean, sadness and also anger, like, why is this happening to me? And yeah, it's not needed. Yeah.
yeah, and the worst part of all of this, right? That's people actually believe they're doing the right thing, but they're still suffering from all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
if you just look around, and for anyone watching this, just ask yourself, if you look around in the world right now, just go out to your, like, the city center or whatever, what is it that you actually see around you when you turn your head? Is that a good thing? I would say no. People are so sick, like on so many medications,
Yeah.
obese, just wandering through life, just trying to get through the day, not actually, many of them not even being aware of all their issues and thinking that they're doing the right thing and not understanding why it's not working for them. So yeah,
Yeah. And when you ask them, like, are you eating healthy? They'll be like, yeah, I'm eating healthy. I'm having my bowl of oats in the morning. I'm having my fruits. I'm having my vegetables. I'm having my lean proteins. I'm having my protein bars. I'm having my whey protein. And it's like, oh my God, guys, like this is the opposite what you should be doing.
yeah, exactly. And something people have to understand about, like, the immune system and stuff, right? Because all that stuff is inflammatory, and you can see people are severely inflamed everywhere. Is that the way your immune system works? Is if it detects something foreign or some damage to tissue, that's when it reacts. That's when you get inflammation, right? We always say that inflammation is the cause, but it's not even the cause, because that's your body doing what it's supposed to for the circumstances you're putting it in. The actual problem is the thing causing the inflammation.
Exactly.
And that's the grains, the fiber, the like ingredient lists longer than shampoo bottle, and yeah.
Are you being more
The
mindful
jungle.
with those things as well? There are things like cosmetics and shampoo or other things in the environment. How did carnivore affect your life otherwise?
Yeah, definitely. Because I see a lot of people talking about this, that there's this sort of strange feeling of some instincts that you weren't even aware of existing inside of you, as if they suddenly just wake up and everything just starts shifting and you start gravitating towards doing more natural things, right? Getting out in the sunlight, getting your feet on the ground. Instead of gaming, you start wanting to read and learn, or just think deeply for yourself. And yeah, it's gone over to other areas of my life too. If I use shampoo or that sort of stuff, it's made from tallow. Um, I don't really need to use it that much. My hair is doing fine, and I don't need deodorant for anything, because I don't have really body odor anymore. Uh, yeah, it does affect a lot of areas. It's
Yeah.
probably your hormones balancing and probably just being fueled correctly. You start thinking and working like a human is supposed to, and then you want to do things humans are supposed to do.
I think actually also, and that's just an idea, I'm not an expert on that, but modern day puberty and all the things that people attribute to hormones nowadays, I strongly doubt whether if you go 1 or 2 centuries back, if young people would also act and behave like they do nowadays. And I mean, of course, the school environment doesn't help, but I strongly have my doubts, because in the past you would just be a young guy of 13, 14 years, and in your family you would start working. Maybe in small environments you would be studying or learning something. And all those things wouldn't happen, I think, because you would also have sort of a proper diet back then. And what you see at schools nowadays. I mean, for me, it's 20 years ago, but and I try to repress it very much as well. My school memories, because wasn't either a very good time. But I don't know how it is nowadays. But what do you think about the school environment anyway? Yeah.
I mean, it definitely doesn't look good for me to. I mean, I'm 23, so it's uh, I'm not in the same era as people now, but I have a little brother in school, and just the difference from me when I went to school to now seems to be very, very drastic. Like kids just running around uncontrollably, being rude to each other, and spastic. Like it seems like everyone has ADHD or something of that sort today, and they're not behaving. They're not paying attention in class. It seems like everyone's doing worse in school as well. They can't concentrate. I also used to have concentration issues, and yeah, they're just treating each other horribly, even though they go around calling each other friends. They're still being horrible to each other, and it's very strange to see. Like my little brother, he comes, no one should come home like him and cry because of his supposed friend said something to him. And the school system, they don't even take care of that stuff. They pretend like they do at the surface, but it seems like they just shove it under the carpet. And everyone, no one can get sad, right? Everyone's gonna be happy all the time, so they don't discipline the children on how to behave, and so it's not just the diet part of it either. Even though I think that makes a big difference. I mean, they're pushing. It's always a lot of fruits and waffles and pancakes and porridge, that sort of food. No real nutrition, and of course you can't have whole milk. It has to be the low fat stuff. Just flavored yogurts, sugary garbage. It's not like they have the sugar highs and the sugar crashes and everything. Yeah, the school does not seem like a good environment at all, and I think a lot of it comes down to the diet.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Well, Jonathan, I want to thank you for coming on. Your story is absolutely amazing, and I'm hoping it reaches a lot of people. Where can people go to find you?
First of all, thank you so much to both of you for having me on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, if people want to reach out to me, feel free to go to my YouTube or my Instagram. I mean, the Instagram is the easiest place to actually get a hold of me. I go by Norse Carnivore, Norse. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always ready to help out whatever you're struggling with, or if you just need some guidance on carnivore and everything. And eventually, or I'm working on getting certified as a coach as well right now. So that's something I will eventually do too. I'm trying to contribute as much as I can to getting this message out there and just helping people get to carnivore too, right? It's an entirely different thing, not only being able to tell them I did this and it worked for me, but also like actually hands-on helping them get to where I am. So that's something I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more of in the future.
Well, you're definitely doing your part, because I've seen your videos and your videos are amazing. And it just goes to show you that you can pretty much do whatever you want once you have the right mindset, and you clearly know what you want to do in the next couple of years. So yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. It's amazing. I'll be watching this story in the next couple of years, 100%.
Yeah, I'll definitely
Anything
check
you
out
wanna
your
add,
channel
Peter?
as well, because I mean, it's wonderful that you're doing this, and yeah, also this story really touches me, because this I mean, it reminds me of my high school time and all those things. Yeah, it was really it's a really interesting story.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear it resonates with you. And oh, Marcus.
Well,
Hello, Mark. Or Mark. Okay. Or is he coming back?
I'm still here. Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll just wrap up here, guys, because my internet is turning shit again.
No, but thank you so much. It makes me very happy to hear that my story and message resonates. That's the goal. And I hope it reaches someone who really needs to hear this.
Thanks very much, Jonathan, and we'll speak very soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Will do.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'll just don't leave here, but I'll just press end.